Hi, hey everyone, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. I'm going to talk about this Kandi e10k Cowboy electric side-by-side. Now, I actually bought this used. I did pay for my own money. This is not a sponsored video in any way. But I'm going to talk about why I got it and my impressions, my first impressions about it. I have a friend of mine that has the Polaris Ranger Kinetic EV, and I'll talk a little bit about differences, and maybe in the future I'll do some good comparisons between those vehicles. But for this one, I'm going to focus just on this UTV and kind of why I bought it, some features to care about, some things I don't like about it that I've already found out about, and so we'll go through all that here and see that. So obviously it's a full-size side-by-side. What's really nice is how wide it is. It is a very wide UTV, and what that means is that it's very easy to fit 3 people in here. That's actually one of the attractions. It has a center armrest with cup holders that can go up. It only has 2 seat belts, so it doesn't have a 3rd seat belt, but you can easily fit 3 people wide in here. Now I have this on. There is a little door latch here, and you can see here with it on, this one only has 56 miles on it. It shows 54% battery and 33 miles of range with that 54%, which they claim 60 miles of range total on this one on full battery. I'll talk about that a little bit later with how much I'm actually seeing. But then here you can just flip it to drive, neutral, and reverse. And when you're in reverse, what's really nice is it has a backup camera. It's a nice big 10-inch screen here with a nice backup camera, which is very nice to have there. You can also swipe from the right side, and then you can get some details here of kind of diagnostic stuff. Because the fault codes, you can see your voltages and controller temperatures and stuff like that. So that's good to have. And then you have your lights. You have cargo bed powered up and down, winch in and out. You also have the flasher lights as well as blinkers. So this comes with blinkers and flashers from the factory, which is a really nice feature. Down here we have USB, including a PD port, and then you just have a pad here for your phone to slide into, and it does go in there and it fits like that. And then let's see, in addition to all of the stickers that you get a cup holder up here and a cup holder over here. This is the key fob. You get 2 of them with the machine, and this fob, basically you touch it here and then you press the start stop button, and that's how you start it. If you want to turn it off, you just press that at any point of time. So down here you have your gas pedal and your brake pedal, and then you have a parking brake pedal. There is no park, so if you turn it off in neutral, it can just roll. In fact, it's rolling right now without a problem. You got to use the parking brake there. Now all this stuff here is factory, which is really nice, meaning all these accessories that you would pay thousands of dollars for, especially like on a Polaris. You get the roof, you get the windshield. The windshield has adjustments where you can pop it open on each side, halfway or full open there to get airflow. You get the doors with the door latches. These are actually pretty nicely done here. And then also when the door is actually closed, you can still get access down here to both the cargo bed switch. So that's another switch that does the same thing that's on the instrument panel. And then here you have your charge port that you use to charge it up for the high voltage. We'll talk about that more a little bit later. The steps, the upgraded wheels, all that comes from the factory with them, as well as the side view mirrors and the plastic top, as well as the front winch with the synthetic rope. That is all factory done there. So that's the features. You can see the headlights, they are nice and big on this. They do work well. I did use them at night, and I was actually pretty happy with their performance. So let's go into a little bit of the specs of the unit. All right, so I can pop this seat out here, and this is the 11.5 kilowatt hours of lithium ion battery. So you see there's 3 big ones. Each one is 25.6 volts and 150 amp hours. So add them all up and you're getting about 75 to 80 volts of power there, and that's 450 amp hours combined. And then behind it, probably can't see it, those are the controllers and inverters to convert the DC power over to AC to the motors, both a front motor and a rear motor. All right, so that's down now. Now, one thing I will say about the seats, The bottom is perfectly fine and comfortable. The backs are pretty upright and hard. So I'm not as much used to that. I had a Razor before. Razor's obviously, I guess, more of a side-by-side. This is more of a UTV or a utility vehicle. So this is not like a fast, quick machine that you're gonna jump around a course. I'll show you that later. It's more utility built, suspension stiffer, and it has like a dump bed, that kind of stuff. Not so much for like going and blazing a sand dune or whatnot. Okay, so if I can show you the dump bed here, I can press this button, the up button, and you can see the dump bed rising up nice and slow. It's got a tailgate that you could of course open so you could dump stuff out. And so this is just an electric dump bed. I think it's around 500 pounds. I think it's maybe like 440 pounds or something technically rated at. So not like crazy heavy weight. You can see in there is a electric actuator. So that is what powers up that dump feature. And then down there you can also see the electric motor that's in there, and it has half shafts that go to each side. That's very similar up front as well. You got a bigger motor up front with the half shafts going into here, and then of course you got four-wheel disc brakes, all that kind of good stuff built into it. So the machine itself seems to be pretty sturdy and built pretty strong. If you look at like the ladder frame there, all that seems pretty beefy. This stuff is very sturdy. You know, sometimes you see these things and they're more decorative than others, but all these seem to be very strong, including the steps. Even though I don't really like that the steps kind of stick out pretty far. I do catch them sometimes on trees or whatnot. But overall, at first glance, you know, it looks like a pretty well-made machine. Now we're just lowering the bed here. Okay, so we'll test out a few things here. One, the top speed they claim is 40 miles per hour. This one actually has a tune. There's a guy online, I think Alton Lee's his name. He's kind of like this guy that's into these things, and he helps people out. So the previous owner that I bought this from actually had his tuned by him to crank up the speed about 48 miles per hour, but it really only gets that on flat ground where it's smooth. If you're going through heavy trails or mud and stuff, it's not gonna go that fast. So it's not a crazy fast machine. I think it's a 10 kilowatt of power. So that's how much, you know, horsepower it has basically from those electric motors. So it accelerates, it's not bad. I'll show you some hill climbing it can do. I think they claim 2,500 pounds of towing capacity. We'll test that out. I think I'm probably gonna hook this little Suzuki X90 onto my big trailer. That should be about double the rated capacity. We'll see how it does with that. I'll show you some hills. Let's go for a drive and see how it performs. Okay, so we're just gonna go. Now this time we're going uphill a little bit. Come to a complete stop here, and I'm just gonna hit the gas full throttle and see what it does. 10, 20, 25, 30, 34, 35 miles per hour, 36. Now we're gonna level off on the ground. Now we're going faster, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. All right, 44. That's about what it's gonna get. That's at 52% battery state of charge. But now I can go through the trails here. And what I really like about it is how quiet it is. Now what you hear the dampers, the shocks working, and you might hear some creaks and whatnot. And the truth is, every other UTV has those noises too. You just can't hear it because you got a gas engine going all the time and making all kind of ruckus. So, you know, they do a pretty good job, I would say, overall of actually not having a whole lot of rattles from what I've seen. I don't know if the previous owner actually put some of the foam and anti-rattle stuff. I saw the tailgate has some where it closes, it's resting up against foam. He might have done that. That might not come from the factory. But overall, this thing is very quiet, just zipping around. It's great for trails. I'm gonna hook it up and, you know, use it for utility. I'm probably gonna dump dirt in the bed or rocks in the bed. So for that kind of use, it looks like it's gonna be great. If I was using it to go fast and zip around trails and racetracks, this is not the machine for that. But they don't try to make it that either. So just something to be aware of, that it's going to be a much stiffer sprung. It's not as smooth riding as something like a Razor. It's more akin to a Kawasaki Mule, a Polaris Ranger maybe. But I have a feeling the Ranger is probably a little bit more sporty than this one. For sure their kinetic is faster. It has like 110 horsepower. and the battery size is about 3 times as big. But I mean, it can zip around the trails. It's just going to be a little bit bumpy. You see me kind of bouncing around a little bit. But it's got enough definitely to kick up the tires and spin them as we go. I can go pretty quick. It's just a little bumpier than I would like it to be. So we're doing about 35 right here through these trails. It's pretty tight trails, but it can handle it for sure. All right, so here we got a big hill. This is a very, very steep hill. And this machine has no problem stopping on it. The brakes will hold and it will stay steady there. And I haven't tried reversing up it. I guess this will be my first time. Put it in reverse and see if it can reverse up the hill. Yeah, it got some tire slip a little bit there, but not a problem. It was able to reverse up that hill. That is a steep hill. That's good. It can go forward up it as well. I've tried that many times. I'll turn around here and do that. All right, so now it's always hard to tell on the camera how steep a hill is. I understand that, but I can tell you this is not quite, it's not vertical, but it certainly feels like a lot. So I'm stopped here on the hill and I just give it throttle. I might get some tire slip, but it will go up it. It's about its maximum amount that it will go up it, but it does do that. So that's what I like about electric torque is it's just smooth and consistent, and I can cruise it along softly and quietly, or I can give it some gas and get going, and it will zip around here pretty quickly. Piece of cake for it. It's actually not hard at all for it to build these steps, so that's pretty impressive. All right, so I'm going to take off here on the racetrack and just show you what this guy does, zipping around a little bit. Get airborne there. Back doesn't have enough travel for this. All right. All right, we're going for a jump here. Let's see how it's gonna jump. Oh, that kicks up for sure. Oh. So it doesn't have enough travel for the jumps, that's for sure, but it does get going pretty good. Going again. Going about 40. By the time we get into the straightaway here, we gotta slow her down, get into this turn. Here we go for another jump. Okay, so I got my car trailer hooked up to it here. I love my hitch. It's my Fastway hitch. It has adjustments to lock it down both in the hitch down here and all these other places so that it doesn't wiggle at all, which is great. And then it's quick and easy to adjust. So highly recommend this guy. I'll put a link in the video description. Not sponsored, that's just my favorite trailer hitch I've ever had. But this one here is probably about the 2,500 pound. I think it's a little around 2,000 pounds. So this is close to its max trailer rating. I'm gonna put a car on it as well just to see how well this UTV does with it. Okay, here we go with the trailer. All right, well, let's see how it does with this. So I have the car trailer with Suzuki X90 behind me, and we're just cruising along. I'm not doing full throttle. Obviously, the vehicle's not even strapped down, actually. But, you know, the back of it's squatting down, of course, but can it power this and drive it on flat ground? Absolutely. Can it go off-road? I don't know. We can certainly give it a little whirl to see if it can go a little bit off-road. Certainly I can, and the nice thing about it is I can turn this trailer a lot tighter than I'm used to with a car, so it's definitely more maneuverable here. So definitely for moving something around on a property, I could definitely drive. Let me see if I can go down here. Let's see, can it brake? Yeah, brake's okay. All right, so we can get this thing to turn all the way around without a problem. And I can certainly drive with it. Get up to speed pretty easily. Actually, I'm kind of surprised how quickly I can get up to speed with it. I'm going 15, 20. Definitely get going with it. So, actually pretty impressed. Obviously, this is flat ground, so it's pretty easy. But still, it's definitely able of going. That's not a problem at all with it. All right, so this just plugs into the wall. It's 110 volt out. This whole building only has 20 amp service, I think. But so this just is a standard EV charger plug, like my wife's car actually has. And so this just plugs in here. When you do that, you'll see the screen light up. But then it also comes with a 220 volt plug to charge. I assume it's faster charging with the 220 than the 110, but I'm not sure. They say 8 hours of charging. If I look on here, so here is the charging indicator. So this will turn back off eventually, but you can see I only had 16 miles left with 26%. So now it's charging. It does not give you, as far as I could tell, an estimated range of when it would be done. So it doesn't give you an idea how quickly it's charging. I think if you swipe, you can see amperage here. So I can see 12 amps of power going into it. So that is at least telling you how quickly it's charging. So I know it's charging, but I don't know how long it will take. You'll have to just come back and look at it. All right, so now for some of the bad stuff. So, you know, the one thing that's kind of obvious is a lot of people haven't heard of this brand, and their dealer network is sparse. A lot of Lowe's sold them, just regular kind of farm and fleet type places picked them up, but they had really bad support early on in their lifespan. And lots of people complain about firmware problems. There was things where the 12 volt battery would die on it. There's things where they wouldn't go fast or have enough power going up hills. A lot of those did get fixed. This one has those firmware updates, and Kandi has been more supportive now in the US market, but they have basically a guy or two that travel around and do support. So it's not like your local Polaris, Kawasaki, Yamaha dealer that you show up to and you're going to get support right away. There are some downsides, and that's actually how I bought this one. With 41 miles on it being used, the guy bought it last December. He had problems with the controller overheating because the motor current would stay going even when he was stopped, and it was overheating the controller. It took until August of the next year, so 10 months basically for him to get it fixed. By that point, he had already bought another UTV for his needs, and so he sold this to me, and I took it with some risk there. But it's been doing great, and it has been performing well. I will say the controllers do appear to heat up. They're air cooled, and I would bet if you had a long hill that was like miles long and you were trying to go fast, you know, 30, 40 miles per hour, I bet you it would overheat, especially in the heat. So if you're in Texas or someplace hot, I'm in Michigan. Around here, I have like some little hills, but nothing big. And so I don't have a problem. I have not had an issue with it, but I could see that being a problem for some. And then the range is not what they claim, right? I mean, that's kind of true for all of these things. 60 miles, I would say realistically, with driving, I'm probably getting 30 miles of range is what I'm about seeing. Now, granted, if I go out on the racetrack and do full throttle, it's going to suck it down quicker than that. And if I tow, it's going to do it quicker. If I putz around and I go slow and use it like a golf cart, yeah, 60 miles is probably reasonable. But I think if you're bumping around, going fast, doing work, you're probably going to get less than that. For me, it's not a problem. I use this on my property. 30 miles in a day is a piece of cake, and plugging it in is super easy. Standard 110-volt outlet, so it's easy for me to maintain and charge. But that is something to know about it. Overall, I'm super glad I got it. I will keep doing some more videos on this. Do hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel to see more like it. And also add a comment down below if you're like, Nate, go test this, or what do you think about this? Go put that in a comment, and I will try to get to that and do that in a future video. So thanks.